All the years that you've toured with a lot of people.
I have, yeah.
And I would love to hear just some stories, maybe from the road, or just some thoughts that you have on different people in our industry.
Sure. I'm going to say all good things. All
okay.
Good things.
Well, let's just start with somebody that recently graced your Instagram, Mr. Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's the best.
Singing I Will Be, you guys do the I Will Be Here as a duet. That was so fun.
That was my wife's idea. I was doing, for Valentine's week, I was doing a love song every day, or trying to anyway. I'm not very good at keeping up with it, but I was out with Stephen doing a show last week, and she said, you should get him to play I Will Be Here and you sing it.
Yeah.
And that'd be your post for the day for Valentine's Day. And I went, or Valentine's week. And so I went into where his green room was and asked him real quick, and he said, yeah, sit down, let's do it. And so, yeah. And I actually got to sing that years ago at the Dove Awards, like a little snippet of it, because we were doing a dedication to Stephen and Mary Beth. And I got to sing that. So
that's cool. So, it sounds like you've had a long friendship with Stephen.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that we had the same management team for a long time, for many years. So the first, I would say, 10 or 12 years of anybody knowing who we were, who Third Day was, we never toured with Stephen because our management wanted him to go do his tour and wanted us to go do our tour.
Yes.
And so we do shows every once in a while, but it was rare. And we were big Stephen fans, of course. And then finally, years later, we had different management, and we said, why don't we finally go do a tour together? And so we did an SCC 3D tour where he was in our band. He played guitar for us.
Cool.
And then we were his band backing him up for his songs. And so we were out on stage the whole time together. And then not too long after that, I was starting some solo stuff. So he took me out on a tour with him. We've done 3 or 4 tours together since then. And so whenever I have friends ask me, who's your favorite person in Christian music, I always say Stephen Curtis Chapman.
I can absolutely see why.
Yeah, he's the best.
Salt of the earth.
Absolutely.
That's so great. That's one of the reasons why I chose to go to Anderson University, because he went there. And I'm like, Stephen Curtis Chapman went here.
It's got to be good.
That's right. Somebody else you've toured with is Toby.
Yeah.
Toby Mac.
Every time this bell rings, that's someone else liking this video. Wait on you. You make the bell ring. Go ahead.
Somebody else you've toured with is Toby.
Yeah.
Toby Mac.
Many times.
And I would love, what are some of your thoughts and experiences with Toby?
Yeah. Well, of course, I was a big DC Talk fan.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know anything about Christian music until I started listening to it. And so, a little shameless plug here, my next radio single is called 1991. And that's the year I was a senior in high school, I was about to graduate, just had all these fears of not knowing what the future held for me. I sat on the edge of my bed and started reading through the Bible. Somebody had said, hey, you should read the book of Romans. I started reading that, and God's Spirit just filled my heart. And I just knew I wanted to totally surrender to him. And so I did that. I was in this terrible garage band. And one of the guys that was in the garage band, high school garage band, was Mark Lee. And I told him I'm quitting. And he said, why? I said, well, I'm giving my life to Jesus and I want to sing about him. And he said, well, let's start a Christian band. I was like, cool, what's that? I had no idea.
That's amazing.
I had no idea there was this great music modern music out there talking about Jesus. And so as soon as I started making it, I started listening to it and just fell in love with it. And we became big DC Talk fans.
Yeah.
And I've got great stories of seeing them through the years and going to their shows and stuff. But I remember years later when our first record came out, we did a show with them in New Jersey and at a festival, and they talked to us, and it was so cool to get to be this fan that now was a peer and got to hang out with them. And Toby, when DC Talk was disbanded, we took him out on his very first Toby Mac tour.
Oh, cool.
Was opening for us.
Yeah.
And so many great memories of going out and singing songs with him and having him come up and sing songs with us. And just one of the best. I mean, really is an amazing man. Many times out on the basketball court with him, being on his team and not on his team.
Yes.
And let me tell you right now, you want to be on Toby Mac's team.
I remember going to the Michael W. Smith DC Talk Change Your World tour.
Yeah.
And I was in Indianapolis, and I remember very clearly the Lord just, however he does that, spoke to my heart and just told me, like, you're gonna be in the music industry somehow. Wow. Like, I just knew. And so it was just to now see it come to fruition,
Yeah.
being in radio for 15 years and knowing that like he doesn't know it, but God used him. He was a part of God speaking to my heart that night.
Well, and that's, I listen, we've talked about this. I just turned 50 and I still feel like a little kid. Anytime I'm around Toby, anytime I'm around Steven or Michael, I got to do a tour. It was right towards the end of 2020. And the only way we could tour was to do drive-in theaters where people would drive up in their cars.
I remember that.
We were on stage and they put the video up on the big screen for the drive-in. And I had done many tours with Stephen before and many tours with Michael W. But being on stage with them and, singing each other's songs the whole time, of course, I knew all their lyrics.
Sure.
And so I'm still, at that time I was 47, I guess. And I'm looking to my left, I'm going, there's Michael W. Smith. There's Stephen Curtis Chapman. I mean, I still, after knowing them for 20-something years, feel like a little kid, feel like that fan. And I don't think I'll ever lose that.
I think that's something that's really great about Christian music is that, yes, you can have the fan piece of it, but also knowing that the lyrics are something that actually God uses to change your heart. Like there's just so many layers to it. And what a privilege to get to, be a part of that.
It really is. I tell you what, I tell people all the time, especially now that Third Day's been done, goodness, coming up this summer will be 5 years of not being in the band. And which is kind of strange. Time flies by, but at the same time, it feels right. And I've told people this the past couple of years, and I think they think I'm joking when I say this, but I mean it with all my heart. I tell people I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to get to still sing about Jesus, to be with these wonderful men and women in Christian music, on the radio side, the artist side, and everything, management, all that stuff, labels. And there's just some really, really great people that love Jesus and love sharing the message of the gospel through the music, and I'm so glad to be part of it.
Hey, if you like this snippet with Mac Powell, you'll love the full interview.
Just be sure to click right here. We'll send you on over to the full interview.